To the Kislak Center for a look at how some Miami residents are celebrating their Haitian heritage.
We are very creative people, and we like to celebrate our history and our resilience through our art.
And later on, one Miami Hurricane football player is back on the field for his 9th year in college.
7 seasons, I faced a bunch of adversity, a bunch of injuries.
These stories and a whole lot more on the program tonight. NewsVision starts right now. Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of NewsVision. I'm Max Keller.
And I'm Emmeline Smith. Thank you for joining us. A scary situation on campus late last night.
One UM student is recovering today after a branch fell from a big oak tree suddenly at the Rock on the Coral Gables campus around 11 p.m. yesterday. The UM senior was walking nearby when the branch fell and it hit her. She suffered multiple injuries, including abrasions, swelling, and a fracture in her right foot. She was hospitalized for part of the night and then released. The student asked for her name not to be made public.
The injured student told us that the UM Director of Orientation and Student Programs, Michael Baumhart, reached out to her after the incident. University of Miami Communications provided us with the following information. At approximately 11 p.m. Wednesday, a large canopy oak tree on the side of the Rock split, resulting in a large branch falling over the entire Rock area. Unfortunately, one student was injured and Student Affairs followed up immediately with her on Thursday and will continue to do so. After consulting with a certified arborist, the decision was made to remove the tree since it was beyond recovery. University Facilities has identified a mature replacement tree at a tree farm on campus. The replacement tree will be prepared for replanting at the Rock location, which should be completed in about a month. The damaged tree has been removed and the Rock area should reopen by the weekend or sooner.
The University of Miami Frost School of Music is mourning the passing of one of their own. Professor Robert Karnakin died Wednesday. He taught wind instruments at Frost for 9 years and received the school's most prestigious award, the Philip Frost Award for Excellence in Teaching and Scholarship. He also advised the Frost Band of the Hour, which is the marching band for the Hurricanes football and basketball teams. The Frost School of Music is planning a tribute to Karnakin during a school concert this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Professor Karnakin was 61 years old.
Students across the university's 9 different schools and colleges have complained about their issues with their academic advisors for years. But now, as reporter Taryn Jacobs explains, the university has finally made a change.
Dylan Hassler is a junior at the University of Miami and says she's always been confused when it comes to academic advising.
I think that there's just been a lot of miscommunication in there, as well as a one-size-fits-all situation that is totally not true.
And Dylan is not alone. For years, UM students have complained about various issues with advising.
One of the things that I kept hearing about was looking into the Cane Link and seeing that a student might have had 5 advisors and not knowing who to talk to.
And even if the students know who their advisor is, many of them say the advisor doesn't know who the students are. Administrators attribute this to advisors being paired with too many students.
A Cane Navigator would have about 400 students on their caseload, while another one might have had 200. So we're really trying to even that out to about 250 to 1.
To address the issues, the UM administration has decided to centralize advising by opening the Center of Academic Navigation and Success that aims to give students the complete academic support they need.
We are really focused on the Cane Navigators being that holistic support for students so that they are not necessarily having to go talk to 3 different advisors across campus.
But although the system seems to be the perfect solution to the chaos, the addition of many new Cane Navigators has not been so smooth.
Some major issues with that is, of course, a lot of them weren't trained and ready to go when the fall semester started.
Another issue for all these new advisors is the lack of space.
There's nowhere for some of these people to go. Our additional advisor, we have 3 advising offices. So now we have 4 advisors. We are now alternating remote days so that he has somewhere to meet with students.
But despite the challenges, most students say they are happy with the changes.
I feel like it's it's always good to listen to what students have to say. And so I think that being able to focus on like, hey, these people are saying that the system doesn't actually work.
Karen Jacobs, UMTV.
According to data released by Admissions, enrollment of Black students makes up only 5% of the class of 2028. Last year, Black students made up 9% of all the enrolled students. The drastic drop in enrollment is worrying members of the United Black Students organization on campus.
Representation it matters. It matters when you go into a space, and whether or not you see someone that looks like you or whether you feel represented, like that can help in terms of your confidence.
The University of Miami admissions office told the Miami Hurricane that the demographic changes are partly due to last year's Supreme Court decision banning affirmative action in application decisions.
The student organization called Students Supporting Israel, better known as SSI, welcomed a longtime member of the Israeli government to Miami on Wednesday. Nur Barkat is the Minister of Economy and Industry in Israel, and he was also a mayor of Jerusalem for 10 years. Barkat spoke to about 80 students at the private event off campus. He discussed the war, Israel's future, and answered questions from students ranging from economics to geopolitics.
Haitian culture is one of the many that make up the diverse landscape of Miami. And here on campus, the school is hosting a celebration of Haitian culture by focusing on one Haitian dance theater. Reporter Ben Freeman joins us live from the Kislak Center on campus where the celebration is taking place. Ben, what's going on?
Here today, people are gathered to celebrate Haitian culture and legendary Haitian performer Louis Louis was born in Haiti but moved to the United States in the 1960s, and with his wife Lucrèce Louis would form the Haitian Dance Theater in 1975 in New York City. Then, in 1998, the pair would move to South Florida, where they become instant staples of the South Miami Haitian community. Now, him and his contributions to Haitian dance and culture are being honored here on UM's campus. Earlier today, I went to the Little Haiti Cultural Center to ask some locals about art and performances like Louis and see how they impact Haitian culture and community.
Haitian people as a whole are extremely artistic, whether that means that's the way that we express ourselves, whether that's in dance, in music, in fine arts, in sculpture. We are a very creative people, and we like to celebrate our history and our resilience through our art. We celebrate and express ourselves and our heritage through absolutely everything that we do. So it is a point of community because we're able to share that with everyone, and that's a really great point of letting you guys into our Haitian culture, letting you know a little bit more about our history, and for you to kind of explore on your own and seeing how the intersectionality of where we are today is tied with all of that history and Haitian people, especially in Miami.
At the event today, organizers from UM's library and Lucrèce Louis will have a discussion followed by a Q&A. And later, the event will be concluded with a Haitian dance and music performance in honor of Louis. From the Kislak Center, Ben Freeman, UMTV.
Thank you, Ben. And speaking of honoring cultural heritage, playing dominoes is a classic pastime for many Cubans. And here on campus, the Herbert Business School presents Dominoes with the Dean, which is a way for students to meet Dr. Ryan Holmes, who is the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students.
The Dean of Student Service is more than just conduct and those things that people think about with trouble. We are advocates, and our tagline that we believe in is partners in your education and success. So we really encourage all students, faculty, staff to stop by, see us.
Dean Holmes says he wants his team to meet students in a comfortable and engaging setting while playing his childhood favorite game. Dominoes with the Dean is going to be on its second year, and students of all majors and domino skill levels are invited to compete.
In international news, more electronic devices used by members of the militant group Hezbollah have exploded in Lebanon and parts of Syria. The Lebanese government and Hezbollah blame Israel for the deadly attacks. On Tuesday, pagers used by hundreds of Hezbollah members exploded simultaneously, and yesterday, a second wave of attacks were carried out, detonating walkie-talkies used by the group. The attacks killed more than 30 people and thousands more were injured. The Lebanese foreign minister said they will try to stop Hezbollah from retaliation.
We cannot talk to Hezbollah anymore now in the way we were talking to them in the past, because they are, of course, they were hit very badly, and therefore retaliation is a must to them. We'll try to do something, but I don't know how much we have power to stop them.
Israel's defense minister says a new phase of war is beginning, and although they declined to comment on the attacks, the United States and other officials confirmed Israel's involvement in the attacks.
Time for a short break now, but coming up, we'll take a look at how one bill in Florida is impacting voter registration this fall. Stay with us.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The 2024 election is less than 2 months away, and now more than ever, it's important to make sure that you are registered and able to vote. Around the country, third-party groups have helped new voters, including students, register a vote. But here in Florida, recent laws are forcing these groups to make changes, and it could have a big impact on voters' abilities to head to the poll.
In July of 2023, Florida introduced SB 7050, a legislative bill aimed to, quote, continue Florida's commitment to the integrity of their elections. Many of the bill's changes were aimed towards third-party groups, including increased fine amounts with an annual maximum of $250,000, shortened deadlines, and requiring voter registration receipts. Now, because of this bill, these groups have to be more cautious than ever.
And I think that what you've seen is not just us, but groups across the state having to make these changes to their staff, to their volunteer bases, and to how to register voters in general just to avoid these fines.
Some groups believe that these restrictions slow down the process for voter registration, and to them, it's frustrating.
It's just another step along the process that they're trying to complicate, make it take more time, and that ultimately makes it harder for us to do our jobs.
For students here at the University of Miami, though, the nonpartisan student group Get Out the Vote says everything is running just fine.
We, just as of our last event, we have over 400 people that have registered to vote since August.
Outside of no longer using paper registrations, they managed to keep things fairly simple.
You just fill it out all online, and if you're an out-of-state resident, then you just print it and sign it, which is what the state really needs, is just a wet signature.
Now similar groups are struggling to adapt to these complicated changes.
And I think another thing to remember too is that we definitely had to, go through a lot of different training protocols with our team that take a lot more time and a lot more resources to learn all these changes.
As a result, statewide, these groups are noticing a decline in interest.
I think when we have such a big election year, our organization specifically has really seen that these restrictions have deterred volunteers, and it's also, scared off other groups from doing this work with us.
Many groups have stopped doing voter registration drives entirely since the bill was passed, and now third-party registrations, according to state data, have fallen from nearly 60,000 to just about 13,000 in the state of Florida. This especially hurts minority groups who rely on third parties to help them register to vote. A lawsuit challenging SB 7050 conducted studies and found that since 2012, compared to just 2% of white voters, 10% of Hispanic voters, as well as 12% of African American voters in Florida have registered using a third party. And now under SB 7050, it could change their participation.
I think what you've seen from that bill is not only the increase in scrutiny on our work, but just again, another targeted hit at efforts to register voters.
So legislators have stuck behind the bill, saying that it is only to ensure that elections are secure, but we really won't know how this affects all these different groups impacted by this until after the election. But for students, make sure you're registered to vote, and you can do so by going to Kane's Vote Network online.
Thanks, Shay. In other political news, former President Donald Trump has survived a second assassination attempt less than 2 months after the first one in Pennsylvania. Authorities say that on Sunday, one man armed with a rifle camped outside Trump's Florida Golf Club in West Palm Beach for 12 hours, just waiting for an opening to take aim at the former president. During a rally in New York State last night, Trump credited a higher power with saving his life.
And God has now spared my life. It must have been God. Thank you. Not once, but twice.
This weekend, Trump will hold a rally in North Carolina, and President Biden has promised to give the Secret Service every resource to protect Trump's safety.
For the first time in 30 years, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters is staying neutral this campaign season. According to a statement from Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, quote, "Neither major candidate was able to make serious commitments to our union. The Teamsters represent more than 1 million truck drivers, freight workers, and other workers."
Rapper Sean Diddy Comes is behind bars tonight, and depending on the outcome of the case, he might spend a long time in prison. Combs is charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. All serious charges that could land him behind bars for at least 15 years if he is found guilty. The indictment says Combs has been engaging in sex trafficking, kidnapping, arson, forced labor, and bribery since 2008. Combs has pleaded not guilty on all charges. His lawyers asked for a $50 million bail, but the judge denied it.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot.
Combs will remain in jail pending his trial. His next court appearance is scheduled for October 9th.
A middle school student in Florida is facing charges after he allegedly threatened to carry out a school shooting. The 11-year-old was arrested in Volusia County on Monday. Officials say they found a stockpile of weapons in the boys' room, including pistols, rifles, fake ammunition, knives, and even swords. According to the arrest affidavit, the student also had a kill list with several names, and the paper even appeared to have stab marks. Authorities say the boy claimed that the threat was a joke, but parents say this is no laughing matter.
Life is not a video game. Life is real. If you get hurt, you get hurt for real. I mean, that's it. And it sucks that they have no respect for life.
The boy is now charged with a felony for making a written threat of a mass shooting. Volusia County Sheriff said it cost his department thousands of dollars to investigate all threats, including ones that are even fake.
The city of Miami and its residents are no stranger to flooding, but this week people have seen many roads flooded.
Student meteorologist Quinn Davidson joins us live from Matheson Hammock Park. Quinn, what is causing all of this coastal flooding?
Guys, as you can see behind me here at Matheson Hammock Park, the flooding has poured into the parking lots and the streets and causing major problems here at Matheson Hammock Park. And we do have a coastal flood advisory issued by the National Weather Service in effect for Miami-Dade County. They are urging residents to move their cars to higher ground and to avoid driving through any flooded roadways. And why is this happening? It is all due to king tides. What is a king tide, you may ask? It is when the moon is at its closest proximity to Earth, which causes those high tides to become even higher than they are on a normal day basis. King tides are not out of the question yet, and with heavy rainfall, as we saw earlier, that is going to be increasing due to climate change in the future and rising sea levels, coastal communities like Miami here and Coral Gables are going to have to keep an eye as these king tides progress in the future. They are not out of the woods yet. We still have a few more days left of king tides here in September, but they will be making a comeback in mid-October and mid-November. Reporting live from Matheson Hammock Park, Quinn Davidson, UMTV.
Thank you, Quinn. I'm not going to lie, the thunder earlier definitely scared me. Thankfully, student meteorologist Colin Rick is here to give us the forecast. Colin, what is the weather looking like this weekend?
Yeah, thanks, guys. You know, those thunderstorms earlier are definitely on the louder side, and we've got an interesting setup going on today with some storms being trapped in our area, causing a flooding risk. And on top of that, we do have, just as Quinn mentioned, that flooding risk, the coastal flooding risk, that area highlighted in green here from the National Weather Service. Taking a look at our current temperatures right now, we saw those temps fall into the middle 70s. That rain-cooled air has settled. We'll see those temperatures bump up again tonight, but let's look at that storm that came through earlier. You'll see heavy showers and thunderstorms making their way through earlier today, and then right now, just a little bit ago, we just had some heavier rain move through the area. Again, lots of thunder and lightning with these storms, because what's happening is we've got winds off the Atlantic colliding with outflow, trapping these storms over our area, which is why we do have that potential to see some flooding. Tonight, that's the main concern here in the Miami Metro and on the coastal areas. From now through about 10 p.m., flash flooding and gusty winds can also not be ruled out with these thunderstorms. We'll see those rain chances taper off into about 10 p.m. tonight, and then we'll be mostly clear into the overnight hours. And then again, we'll see those thunderstorms in the area tomorrow on Thursday. Stronger storms making their way into the area tomorrow possibly. And as we go throughout the overnight hours, we'll get a little bit of a break from those rain and thunderstorms tonight. So as we look at our forecast for tomorrow, we'll see those temperatures again in the middle to upper 80s. A stray shower and thunderstorm cannot be ruled out. And of course, let's look at future casts here. We'll see those thunderstorm chances again tomorrow and into this weekend as well. Possibly some heavier thunderstorms into the overnight hours. So we'll stay weather aware with those storms as they make their way through the area. And of course, we cannot leave out the tropics. We have the potential to see some tropical development, a moderate risk off the Yucatan Peninsula. And as we look at our 7-day here, we'll see that theme continue with the potential for some showers and thunderstorms throughout the week. And then, of course, we'll see the sun chances return this weekend with temperatures in the middle to upper 80s.
Thank you, Colin. Coming up, Miami tight end Cam McCormick shares his struggles over his 9 years as a college football player. That story and more in sports when we return. Stay with us.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Thanks for staying with NewsVision. Welcome to sports. I'm John Stanley. Houston, Texas might be getting another basketball team soon. Houston Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta is in talks to bring a WNBA franchise back to the city. In a statement, Fertitta said he is in active conversation with WNBA officials to bring an expansion team back to Houston. If successful, this would mark the second recent WNBA expansion bid, following the Portland Fire being announced as an official franchise set to play in 2026. Fertitta's bid includes branding for the Houston Comets, which are the WNBA's very first dynasty. The Comets won the league's first 4 championships from 1997 to 2001, thanks to legendary players such as Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, and Tina Thompson. This past weekend, the Miami Hurricanes football team flexed its muscles at home against Ball State. Let's take a look at the highlights. We'll start off in the early first quarter. Canes up 3-0. Ward, looking to the end zone, finds his man, Xavier Restrepo. That's a touchdown. Miami up 10-0. Next Canes possession, Ward slings it to Sam Brown. He jumps upfield and leaps up and over a defender. That's an excellent effort to get a first down right there. 2 plays later, Ward, looking to his left on the swing pass, finds Chris Johnson Jr. You are not catching him, ladies and gentlemen. You know who his dad is? Chris Johnson, the former 40-yard dash record holder. Just before halftime now, Canes on defense, up 24-0. The ball is out, and it's the big fella, Elijah Alston, on the D-line, snagging the interception, and the Canes would run away with it. The final score of this game, 62-0. As you can see, the Canes are on a roll so far this year, and one key player has been through it all. Manny Nacarado has more.
For many collegiate football players, college lasts about 3 to 4 years. But for Miami tight end Cam McCormick, his journey took a different path, starting at the University of Oregon right out of high school.
After arriving there in 2016, I obviously was there for 7 seasons. I faced a bunch of adversity, a bunch of injuries.
Now, entering his 9th season, Cam has experienced all the pain football has to offer.
So in 2018, I broke my fibula and tore up my deltoid ligament in my left ankle, and then obviously had surgery to fix that. Come to find out what they used to repair the deltoid ligament in my ankle, the suture caused me to have a stress fracture in my medial malleolus, which is the inside of your ankle. So I essentially had to have surgery to fix a fractured ankle. So that put me out of all of 2019 season.
And because of this injury, Cam also had to sit out all of the 2020 season And in 2021, Cam tore his Achilles. But after all the injuries, it was time to reflect on if continuing football was worth it.
Maybe this isn't your path. Maybe you should reconsider. And he was adamant. He's like, no, this is what I'm doing. Don't tell me to quit. I'm pushing forward.
While Cam faced criticism, the closest to him stuck by his side.
When he made that decision more than once to keep just pushing and trudging along and fighting his way back, the guy's incredibly inspiring to everybody around him.
It's not their dream, it's your dream, and it doesn't matter what anyone thinks about it. They're all going to have an opinion, and it's going to get ugly.
As Cam finishes his 9th year at the U and looks to the future, he knows he can handle anything that comes his way.
I did what I had to do. I gave it 100% effort, and I know that when I walk away from football, I can say that I gave it my all.
Manny Nacarado, UMTV.
Cam McCormick and the Canes will hit the gridiron in Tampa against USF at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Cam looks to make a big impact against the Bulls. Well, that's all I have for sports today.
Thank you, John. Time for a short break, and still ahead, we will show you how one student organization is helping support families with hospitalized children.
It's something about having that piece of paper. Some people think that's worth more than my skills.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
You just gotta be so good they can't ignore you.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Analytics and empathy, that's how I've gained clients.
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
September marks Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and a vital time for the Ronald McDonald House Charities. I attended an event hosted at the University of Miami's Hillel that will hopefully lift spirits for these families during a difficult time. UM senior Hannah Cooker is using her passion for art to help out families in need. She created an event hosted at University of Miami's Hillel to make packages filled with art supplies for children currently living at the Ronald McDonald Charities House of South Florida. The Ronald McDonald houses around the country provide free accommodations for needy families whose children have been hospitalized with serious diseases. And Hannah wanted to do something to make the stay of the families and their kids nicer.
Being able to employ that to help these kids is just super fun. They put it up in their rooms, and I get pictures sometimes from Ronald McDonald back, like showing me that they've put it up. So that's also rewarding to me. I know that during a tough time, this is something that really brightens their day.
Several students volunteered for the event last Saturday.
I was initially interested in joining because I'm really interested in art. I love doing artsy stuff, and I thought this was a great way of combining my passion of doing a hobby that I love and also giving back to the community, which is something that I'm also really passionate about.
In a statement from Mariana Rebolledo, the volunteer manager at the Ronald McDonald House Charity here in South Florida, she said these care kits are more than just practical items. They offer a message of care and solidarity from the community, reminding families they are not alone during their challenging times. The craft kits have markers, popsicle sticks, and instructions on how the children are supposed to put together a puzzle using those supplies. Each bag also has a card in both English and Spanish. The volunteers made 50 packages that Rodman and Cooker will take to South Florida's Ronald McDonald House in person and to help teach the kids how to make their puzzles.
So I'm really excited to interact with the children and the families, hear about their stories, and help them make this art project that hopefully brings them some happiness during a dark time.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Max Keller. Emmeline, I had such a great time being part of something that I know will have a big impact on a lot of people.
I completely agree, and I'm sure this impact will not go unnoticed, but unfortunately that's all the time we have for this week's edition of NewsVision.
Be sure to tune in at the same time next Thursday. Have a good night.